All right. Welcome to Gen X Rated, Thursday edition. How we doing, Billy?
Good. It feels like Friday though for some reason. I don't know why. It just does, and probably going to be bitterly disappointed tomorrow. It's
When it's actually Friday.
yeah, but
You may be
yeah,
right.
it's
I
nice.
just had to make sure I wasn't going to say Tuesday because it's the days are rough at this point.
Well, yeah, they all seem to kind of run together, and they all end in a Y, as
We've
in
already used
why
that
the
on
hell
the
are we here?
title. Okay. I'm already using your material. Another day ending in Y.
It's
Good stuff.
good stuff. But yeah, at least the sun's out today. It stopped raining.
Well, it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Sorry to inform you,
Ah,
but just in time for Mother's Day to bring those lovely flowers up.
oh yeah, that'll be nice.
So that'll be super. Um,
Super.
No shortage, as you said earlier, of things to talk about.
Mm,
Um, Greatest hits of Trump. It seems to be a lot of him lately, maybe too much between him with the kids, and then his war stance just doesn't seem to be very consistent, and
no.
nobody really knows what's happening. So instead, they just tell you whatever they think you want to hear. Economy's doing great. Gas, temporary. Groceries, whatever.
Yeah, 4.39 a gallon of gas, buck 50 for an apple, almost $2 for a red pepper. Doing great.
Well, if you look at some, they used Kennedy down in Louisiana, the senator who uses his fake little accent, sometimes doesn't bother putting his teeth in at all, even though he actually was a Harvard grad. He plays bumpkin. Um, just the comparison when Biden was in office and gas prices were rising compared to now. Now it's just, not a big deal. Whereas then it was all Biden's fault, which most of the stuff now is still Biden's fault if you ask them. But let's be realistic. We're a year plus in. This is their baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they broke this and they bought it. And they're hoping to get a deal as good as the one that Trump tore up.
I know, right?
They signed with Obama. It's like, why would you walk over a bed of hot coals and stinging fire ants just to get back to right where you started from?
Because that's his method. He's
Well, of course, we're the ones
weeds.
actually feeling the pain. He's just cruising right along, doing his scatting and bebopping and weaving and entertaining the kids who looked half bored out of their minds.
Oh, that was so bizarre. Those kids were yawning. He was talking about transgender. He was talking about nuclear war. He was talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. Barack Hussein Obama. Like, come on, man. These kids are
Barack
6 and
Hussein
7.
Obama.
Yeah. It's just more distractions, but he's got these people in place. Starting with like talking about agriculture, they talk about fertilizer, as we mentioned, there would be a shortage for farmers, but they like to point out that we're getting all our fertilizer now from Russia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we don't even need. God only knows what's in that fertilizer, but uh, just playing to the role of the fact that we don't need the strait like the rest of the world does, even though that's clearly not true. Trump had some big plans yesterday, but he failed to tell the Saudis. So his big plan, once they didn't allow him their airspace or bases for refueling, he had to just back down. I guess that's where the taco comes in.
Hmm.
Um, so, it would help to communicate with other countries that you want to actually help you. But this is Brick Rollins. She's the agriculture secretary. And these are the faces that come out and tell us how great things are. She was talking about SNAP.
Oh,
Just
she was
tomorrow.
so thrilled to announce all the people that are getting kicked off Snap. She was positively giddy about people having to go hungry.
Well, and they like to say that it's part of the waste, fraud, and abuse, and there was fraud and SNAP benefits to people that are dead. I mean, they say this about voting, all the dead people that voted and whatever, and it always comes down to the Republicans that are cheating.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Rick Scott and his Medicare ripoff that he skated on.
yeah, um,
Hmm.
so much money stolen. Brooke doesn't really care because her net worth's about $15 million. All these guys are pretty comfortable, but her big push is that these stores, these convenience stores, that are offering protein as beef jerky or using jelly as a fruit, she's going to really put the pressure on them to add stock more nutritional foods, more things that are nutritious and real foods. It's still 7-Eleven. That doesn't really change a whole lot, whether you're
Yeah.
calling jelly a fruit or you feel like jerky doesn't count as protein. Though honestly, it is. I mean, is it not?
It is, but it's also filled with sodium and fillers, so it's not quite the same as, eating a chicken breast or a steak.
I
Yeah.
mentioned again, you're at 7-Eleven. I'm not sure who's eating steak there,
No, so
but
I'm just saying, I mean, yeah, you're getting some protein, but it's not the high quality, biologically available protein that you get from actual, real sources,
sure.
salmon, chicken, steak. So no, you're getting some protein, but you're also getting a shitload of other stuff too. You're getting some,
So instead of putting it on the corner market where you're telling them they need to add these real foods, um, up to 28 of them, I guess, why not build grocery stores in some of these food deserts? Why not make more of a commitment to these communities that aren't getting or have access to these fresh fruits and meats, etc.?
well, I could give you a long-winded answer, but it's actually a really simple answer. The people that live in those neighborhoods don't really matter to us. That's what it comes down to. People of
Well,
color, people without a lot of money. So yeah, we just we don't care. Have a
you,
beef jerky, you'll be
you
fine.
don't see return on investment, is what I'm hearing.
Well, not
Uh,
until their rich friends come in and gentrify the neighborhood and kick all those people out to go somewhere else. Yeah, that's that's about it.
Well, that's a problem. Brooke is seeing that this is the golden age for farmers is coming. That seems to me ridiculous, but hey, whatever. Whatever they tell you. And this is kind of where we started with this. Hassert was another one that was saying how amazing the economy is right now. I mean, it is just fantastic.
Amazing.
It's amazing. His rationale is that people are spending, their credit card. We talked about this the other day. Their credit card debt was 6,500 on average for most cardholders. He's bragging about it. The fact that people are spending all this money on credit cards. It's amazing. Consumers, he said, are really firing on all cylinders. So much money in their pockets and their credit card spendings through the roof.
If you have pockets full of cash, why are you putting everything on a credit card? I
Yeah, you're
mean,
not.
first of that doesn't make sense. Second of all, I read an article just the other day in the Wall Street Journal, which is hardly a liberal publication, just talking about how consumers are being very picky and choosy about what they're spending their money on because prices are going up, buying
Yeah.
power is down for most people. So a lot of products that were, being bought aren't being bought now. People are really having to decide what they need and what's important. So, dude, eventually nobody's going to listen to that. These guys are just lying through their teeth. And, you can tell me that it's raining, but when I see you standing there taking a leak all over my feet, I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, very true. And we've seen this. I think we have all been raised through the time period where if you're short on cash and your master brake cylinder goes, you put it on a credit card. You blow a tire and you're not getting paid for 10 days, you put it on a credit card. You're
Yeah,
lucky
or
to
even
have that kind of
scarier, if you don't have
credit.
a credit card, you go to one of those payday predatory loan places and sign over your soul.
Yeah, good point. I guess all I'm saying is that this guy needs to really dig a little deeper why credit cards are why people are spending so much on credit cards. I don't think it's because they want to. And credit
No.
cards, as you know, aren't 7-8% interest. You're looking at 19 to 28% interest. So
Oh yeah, that's that Biden. He tried to rein that in and put limitations on it. Psh, we don't need that. Aren't you glad that we freed you from that? Now use those credit cards.
oh, I know. So when your healthcare premiums are up 58% and you make 65,000 a year, you're putting 11,000 towards your healthcare just for basic terrible insurance.
Yeah, with probably what, a $3,000 deductible.
So what do you decide to do?
You
I
go without.
absolutely. I'll keep that $11,000, please.
Yeah, it's just
So
it's horrible.
it's pretty terrible. But we're spending our time on other things. The Trump today came out and wants to repaint or not even repaint. He wants to paint it white because that's what we do. Everything white is the Eisenhower Executive Building. Um, I don't realize, I don't understand why we don't have better things to do. Let me put it up here. It's an amazing looking building. I guess it's fairly close to the White House. It's in the name, White House, near the White House. Let's make it white.
Why would you paint that white? That would look ridiculous.
Why is everything gold in the Oval Office? It looks like a cheap Russian whorehouse. I mean,
yeah, ridiculous and tacky.
This building's amazing. I'm a little surprised that he didn't want to add a third flagpole to it, because why not if we're wasting our time talking about nonsense? Yeah, this is going in front of a group of peers that nobody seems really happy with painting it white. Why it's even a topic now is crazy. We go back to Homeland Security. They're talking about the wall from the Pacific to the Gulf of America, baby. Walls everywhere. We've got so many problems. Like, I mean, this is what we're focused on. Building this wall that I think is losing a lot of luster as it is. But wait, there's more. Tanning beds. There were laws in place that didn't allow minors to use a tanning bed.
I love my tanning bed.
Yeah, this guy said, forget it, man. Look at me. I look amazing. So
looks like a catcher's mitt.
There were laws on the books to not allow minors to use it. It does cause skin cancer. You know, but this guy was like, hey, come on, this is America, right? So, hey, go with it. You want to tan yourself at 13, 12, whatever. You want to look good.
Yeah, and here's what you're going to look like at 60. Go for it, kids. Do a little
It's just a trend that
thinking.
these guys start in the health area. No, they just can't do it. They just cannot do it. Look at these two geniuses. I mean, they just can't. He also approved flavored vapes for the youth because, you know, you should have choices.
Oh my God. Yeah. So flavored vape that comes mixed with all kinds of chemicals that are going to damage your lungs, not to mention just that fun hit of nicotine that all the kids need to get going in the morning and keep going through their busy day. Holy shit. I mean, what the
fuck?
Well,
and he also fired every full-time CDC cruise ship sanitation inspector. So now we've got the hunt virus on this ship where we've had 3 dead already. 7 are infected on this ship. Where it's really hard to get a handle on the actual story. A lot of people were already disembarked. They've already flown back. I think one couple was from Switzerland. They had to be hospitalized. Several people came back to the United States.
What are the odds that they tested those people before they disembarked and went out to international airports to fly from wherever they came from?
They are tracking some and put out notices for people that were on certain flights that they known travelers that had this virus were on. So that's the rest of the world.
How contagious is this?
It's not supposed to be super contagious person to person, but it's happening. And we know how things evolve. It's usually through like rodent waste and such. But these people are getting it on this ship person to person. So it should be enough to alarm you, and you should, should have some kind of focus. The fact that RFK Jr. went and fired all these people. I mean, you've seen cruise ships. They're nasty. People are gross, and they are on vacation. So they do whatever they want. It's like a hotel room. Don't touch the remote. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Don't shine that whatever that black light is on the bedspread, because you're going to be shocked. You won't sleep.
I mean, we've seen
or the wall or the ceiling.
Wipe out the inside of a glass with a towel and then put it back.
Yeah,
nasty. But
poop cruise indeed.
Yes, but this is just a not serious regime. We talk about vitamin K for babies, which they don't want. We've seen issues with that because as a newborn. With a newborn, these parents, they're not all educated in raising kids. And we certainly understand that. It's not like you take a driver's test and you can drive. Anybody can produce a child for the most part. And that's not always a good thing. So if you're giving them misinformation, they're doing their best is the point I'm trying to make. But if you're given lousy data, then how can you make the correct choice? They want to do right. It's the same thing with this measles, which is exploding and we just don't talk about anymore. It's crazy, but we just move on and ignore it until it actually comes into your neighborhood type of thing. It's crazy.
And again, it's not, it's still not their problem because they don't live in our neighborhood. They live in enclaves where they really don't have much contact with people like us. So they don't care. But listen, this regime came in with two agendas. Get revenge on everybody that Trump wants to get revenge on, and make Trump and his cronies too as wealthy as possible. That's
Super
it.
rich.
It's not about improving our infrastructure. It's not about improving the quality of the average American's life or health. It's about none of these things. It's just about those two things.
Yeah. And they're doing really great on getting uber rich because this is pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, they really are. And maybe a third benefit would be, making America white again. Let's bring back Christian nationalism. And
that's on my list.
Kind of a distant third. That's kind of just like one of those added benefits, because the first two are really where the their eyes are on those two prizes.
Yeah, the other is almost a bonus. To your point, you talked about the wellness of our nation, and they are no longer really interested in the data. So Trump's been deleting government data, and there's consequences that are for us, maybe not him because he's getting the most amazing healthcare in the world, because of course he is, whether he appreciates it or not. Let's see if this is here.
Doesn't appreciate
the
anything.
doc just comes to, no, he really doesn't, but that's the way he was raised, I think, as well. Here's Trump. This is probably like you going to the doctor yourself. They just come right out and probably give you a handshake, tell you that you're amazing. It's supposed to be coming up here.
And I'm not even sure that guy's a real doctor. Pill popping Ronnie.
Super slowly. There he is. I'm just saying, you step out of your car, you're getting this kind of service. We saw with COVID, they turned him into Superman with just a couple of injections. So we'd all like to get there. But my point being, you're not getting that kind of service. Part of the data that they're getting rid of, number one, 1 in 3 Americans live near a hazardous chemical. But it's harder to tell now if you're one of them, right? Because you just don't have access to who's building in your neighborhood and what's actually going on behind closed doors type of thing. The chemical stack that's blowing out could be brown, could be white, could be black smoke. We don't know, and we don't want to know.
Well, they don't want you to know.
Deep. Also, babies in the U.S. are born with a higher chance of dying. We're almost the highest of all high-income countries. We're not going to keep track of that either. Again, data that you might want, you're not going to get. Hunger is rampant in the U.S. We're no longer asking people if they're hungry. Well, I don't know if you're hungry if I don't ask.
And honestly, I don't care.
Yes.
You're hungry, eat a steak. What do I care?
Yeah, and they probably assume that everybody can do that. More than half of the trans youth have considered suicide. These critical surveys that gave some kind of data and input as to why and how they're going through these things, we're not interested in that either. First of all, you're not going to get treatment. Second of all, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be a man or a woman, whatever, because those are your two choices, apparently. And lastly, the cost of climate disaster is climbing. It's at nearly $200 billion a year, but we're going to stop recording it. So that number is the last number you're going to get, because again, to wellness for all of us, that only pertains to the masses, not to the people that can, adjust for themselves, I guess, and go to what, Mars or the moon or whatever.
Or wherever.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
just Jackson Hole for the summer.
It's just more ignorance. We already are dumbing down these kids. We talked about some of it. We were going to talk about dementia real quick. And that did associate with amount of screen time. Schools have really gone away from textbooks, which, I don't know if you were excited, but a lot of times in elementary school, that new books came out, the smell of the new books, whatever, not touched, nobody's written pee-pees and wee-wees in it. That was kind
You'd
of
be the
exciting.
first. Yeah,
Now, good
no, we
luck.
had that new book smell.
Yeah,
And, we also had that thing where you could order books, the Weekly Reader. I think that was
yeah,
what, or it was something. Maybe the Weekly Reader was the magazine that came out. But they had that thing that came out and you could order like a couple of kids' books. They were like maybe 99 cents, pretty
yeah,
cheap.
pretty cheap.
You ordered your books and you got excited when they showed up.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it got people interested in it. We're finding, or at least hearing that the data from universities is that kids aren't very good at reading. Students aren't great at reading anymore.
That's a problem.
And they're kind of cheating their way through with chat GPT. Makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier. So these kids are coming out with degrees, and this is from the words of the mouths of students. This isn't like administrators saying, hey, we caught these guys cheating. These are people that are graduating saying, hey, you know what, my education isn't super, I cheated my way through. It was different in my day. Okay, you had to have a little cheat sheet and you worked through, but at least you might have been cheating on the test, but you were at least obtaining the information and using it and applying it. There's got to be some worth to that.
Oh, for sure. And, and maybe along the way you learn to use a little bit of critical thinking.
Absolutely.
Well, if I didn't read the book, I should probably make a cheat sheet. But if I do, and I don't write small enough, I'll probably get caught. Critical thinking. At least you've made a choice and you made a conscious decision. I'm going to cheat.
What should I put on my cheat sheet? I don't know. Let me critically think about that.
Well, let's see. I've got a used textbook here, and somebody highlighted these parts, so they're probably important. So we'll go with those. I'll trust that this guy is smarter than me and not a bigger dummy than I am.
Well, to your point, you're using your brain to figure this out. Maybe it's not the best use, but it's your way of handling it. People say, hey, these criminals, they're so smart. Why don't they just apply themselves? Well, same sort of idea.
Yeah. You know what? I'd
guess.
rather be a criminal.
Yeah. You don't want to live like a schnook like everybody else. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess maybe we could jump into that since we're talking about, we talked about, started the other day, Tuesday, about screen time and dementia. This was a 60 Minutes, which is the only thing in Australia that they're putting out. The Epstein files still pop up there. They're still talking to these victims, and they're keeping it alive. We're doing less of that in this country, obviously, because the media is owned by most of the people that were probably pediddling these children and involved in this nonsense. Accountability will come, but this was another example. We were told that for the first time in our history, IQs are dropping. 400%, which we talked about this the other day, 400% rise in early onset dementia in those that are 35 to 44 years of age. The convenience of screens is undeniable. I'm not saying, hey, take them out of schools. What I'm saying is it'd be nice to have a proportionate part where you actually are using textbooks, reading, learning how to speed read through the unimportant stuff. There's a lot of skill to it, but we kind of went away from that. It was screen everything. It does keep kids occupied at home, which is super. Parents don't have to deal with them. That's great. In our day, the parents didn't deal with us either. They just said, go outside.
Well, that's if they were around, because they may have been at work or, doing something else.
Good point. But they certainly weren't helicopter parents. And there was,
submarine parents.
So there's long-term brain impacts is what they're finding with all these, all the screen time. Kids are developing, slower and just not picking up on, I don't know what you would call it, whether they're not as observant or they're just really focused on what they see based on their surroundings. I don't know. When you're here all the time looking, you're going to miss quite a few things. They talked about toddlers, 2 to 3 hours a day, showed abnormal white brain matter was already starting. Toddlers, that seems pretty young, which is very concerning. Teens, 6 to 8, let me put this up, just some of the factors because it's on the sheet here. Teens, 6 to 8 hours a day, which I think is being kind of kind. I mean, you could put in a good 12 hours easily, sleeping less. But these teens were finding that they had widening ridges, which was a problem. And I'm going to put this up. The brain You can see on the right, those
Whoa.
ridges that they're talking about. It just does not look normal.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Looks like an ant farm.
yeah, and these patterns mirror early Alzheimer's. Most teens aren't getting checked for any of this stuff. It's just not something that you even have on your radar. But we're finding through habits and overuse of certain things, this is the problems that you get. So the excessive screens appear to weaken neural pathways that normally strengthen through play, real world movements, face to face interactions, which we just, what's the point if I can talk to you through a screen in my underwear? That's probably preferable to having to meet you someplace and have a chat. Um, it's just crazy. So there are, factors away from screen that you can just change some of the habits. Again, I'm not saying screens are the devil. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be the end all be all. And we're losing something in the translation of not being able to read, not being able to critically think. It all ties together with dumbing of our IQs and just our ability to process information and apply it. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
scary.
It's a problem.
Things that I did see, age is going to be an issue. If you're 75, chances of you getting it, sure. They double every 5 years. Your odds aren't great. If one parent has it, it does factor in, but it's not the end all be all. It can be just a factor, but it's not necessarily going to be a cause as to why you get it. It would take two parents anyway. Genetic disposition is pretty low, is my point. 10 out of 10,000 cases would be that of somebody that had two parents that had it. Those odds are pretty good. You're probably gonna, have some other catastrophic medical thing before that.
Maybe
10
some
out of
kind of
10,000.
cancer.
Not looking for it, but I'm just saying. And then, of course, it's the blood flow thing. So high blood pressure is a problem. High cholesterol is a problem. Diabetes is a problem. Anything that affects blood flow. And with our sedentary lifestyles and our terrible diets, you're going to run into some of that, if not a
Oh
lot.
yeah. Well, and who is affected by a lot of these factors? It would be people that don't have access to healthy food.
That's right.
That have to eat like a lot of fast food and a lot of unhealthy things that can, cause high blood pressure, diabetes.
So are they doing us a favor by making fast foods so outrageously expensive? Like,
Maybe, yeah, in a roundabout way. But if they
because it
find
used to
out that
be.
those, chronic condition numbers start dropping, they'll probably start bringing those prices down again.
Yeah, because it used to be cheaper to eat fast food than to buy and prepare stuff. Also, time wise, a lot more
Mm-hmm.
convenient. That's why it's fast food and not slow food. But you can work your way to some changes in your habits. I mean, maybe don't smoke. Maybe drink, in moderation. Exercise. Maybe work on your diet a little bit. So it doesn't have to be the end all be all, but these are all factors. And I just thought it was kind of interesting because when you're starting at toddler and talking about teens, I mean, Alzheimer's to me, it was like an old person thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're in a home already or you're in your 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you start seeing it increasing it with the percentages with youth, it's kind of terrifying.
It's really terrifying. Or even, like people in young middle age, and I know that my attention span has gotten shorter. Um, sometimes that even that short-term memory recall is just not quite there. And it's just
Things
a big change.
it's on the tip of my tongue. I know it. It's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's it's a little frightening. And, I did see an article where, maybe some of that can be fixed by just, taking a break from your screen, from scrolling. It doesn't mean you can't check your email on occasion, but, just sit there and just mindlessly scroll, which we're all guilty of, right? Because, YouTube, Instagram, they all know what we like.
Sure.
And, and in the same vein as that, I did see something um, about the 2024 election. I think it was Tom Hartman had a thing there about how they managed to, jigger the algorithms so that people, undecided voters and moderate Republicans, really weren't seeing Kamala Harris's messages. they were seeing more of the GOP stuff that was going to make them outraged and angry at those damn liberals. So, I mean, that election that was not a free and fair election.
Well, and it started with the Russian interference, and we saw this through,
So,
again, the European press pointing it out. You'd send Black Lives Matter to an event where you knew across the street you had a bunch of, white racist haters. They're just putting people in positions to just tear each other apart. And this is, great for Russia, great for China to see us going after ourselves. So,
yeah, great for the GOP.
they were more than happy to help it. We know that in the past, we've had 12 to 15 U.S. senators go to Russia on 4th of July. Seem kind of weird. Maybe they're there today for the big military parade in Russia. Like,
could be.
Our allegiance isn't to the people of this country, and it's certainly not to the voters, as we're seeing. One last thing I wanted to point out about Alzheimer's is women are more prone than men as they age, twice as likely. So they're not exactly sure why the sexes are different. But again, it could have something to do with lifestyle as well. And, watch out for your loved ones, especially if you got some older ones, because it's not a great experience. And you really feel for the people that are dealing with not only the disease, but the people that are helping them, family members, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's a heartbreaking, horrible condition.
If you can avoid it, do it. And that would be about most things that are this horrible when it comes to health. But again, we're walking away from the data that might help us. We're
not only walking away from it, we're just actively deleting it.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
absolutely right. Which is pretty, ignore what you're seeing. Instead, we talk about ballrooms and painting the Eisenhower Executive Building. Like, what are we doing here? Or flagpoles that make it harder for Marine One to land at the White House, or turning the White House into Mar-a-Lago. It's just disturbing across the board.
It's horrific.
And I will say they're back on the ballroom. Obviously Lindsey Graham put that thing together where the taxpayers would pay the $400 million, but corporate donors felt, we could probably help you. 2/3 of it is coming from corporate donors, that have active. 2/3 of them already have active federal contracts. Doesn't seem like. It just seems wrong. Let me just say that. Okay.
Correct.
You're already getting these contracts from the federal government, $279 billion contract. Then you give $10 million to the ballroom, and then you end up getting, giant tax breaks because of it. You're winning. Okay, I'll give you $279 billion. You give me $10 million. You're still winning. Then I'm going to give you tax breaks on top of it. And this is all just a vehicle. This ballroom's just a vehicle to make these people even wealthier. It's just offensive.
It is offensive.
So to name a couple, Lockheed Martin, obviously Amazon, they can't do anything but help Trump. Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, all the highlights. So with that kind of power and that kind of influence in the White House, we start getting these data centers, which the one that's coming up in Utah, and I want to put this up. I don't know if I have a picture of it. I do have a picture of the data center. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank is, they're not going to let me show this. Is building this monstrosity outside of Salt Lake City. This is his project, and it's in Box Elder County. It's going to cover 40,000 acres. It's bigger than Washington, D.C. I can't put this up. It's 2 times the size of Manhattan. Wow, is all I can really say. They're going to take from the local groundwater from the Hansel Valley aquifer. That basin is already dry. You and I have been out to the Salt Lake, the Great Salt Lake. Can you call it a lake? I mean, that boat was barely hanging by the dock.
Yeah.
It was depressing.
Yeah, it really was depressing. It was sad to see.
It
But they
really
don't
was.
care.
Yeah.
Again, this whole planet, this whole this whole planet to them is just something to be exploited and used for their own gain. And I'm guessing that's why they're so big on going to the moon and going to Mars, because, once they've used this up, they're gonna have to go somewhere else. But, you know, it would be a lot easier to fix this planet and be kinder to it than to build a whole new fucking planet on Mars.
Absolutely.
Well,
And hard to get there.
yeah, hard to
I
get
couldn't
there.
agree
There's nothing
more.
there.
And that basin's already connected to the Great Salt Lake watershed, which, as we just talked about, is pretty dry. They would need this AI campus would need 9 gigawatts of power. Um, it's more than twice of what Utah currently uses in electrical consumption. So
It's insane. And how much, aside from cheating on your assignments and writing some emails and, just checking for basic stuff, how much is the average person actually using AI?
that's a
Honestly.
great question. The other question about that is, why do you need such a big campus to do this?
Yeah. What's the point? And again, it comes back to the fact that this bubble has to be completely fed every day. You need to throw more cash into it to keep it going. Otherwise, it's going to pop. And, these people are going to be in some serious financial shit, which will drag all of us
They'll
down.
still be okay.
They'll still be
But
okay.
they'll
We
still
probably
be
won't.
okay.
Yeah, no, we
We,
probably
we,
won't. We saw what happened in 2008.
yeah, but we know that even if they, yeah, well, it's just we will be
Yeah,
the ones that
because
suffer. There's
they're
no
too
doubt.
big to fail,
What I
but we're
did want to
not.
say is it's starting to. True. And what I did want to say on the data center is that now there's speculation that these will be more like surveillance centers, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's probably baked in as well. Let's keep an eye on what they're doing, who they're talking to, what they're listening to, what they're watching, and we'll put together a big list.
Palantir's already doing that.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Palantir's already got everything you need.
And again, don't forget
Today
that
they
this
came
law.
out with a new counterterrorism. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, don't forget that the law they're trying to get passed, where any anti-American or anti-family or anti-Christian or anti-capitalist talk makes you a terrorist.
You're absolutely right. And that's a good
Scary
lead in
shit.
because the new counterterrorism, they've listed how they want to organize. One is the narco terrorists, the transnational gangs. The fishermen they've been blowing up was really where
Yeah.
narco terrorists came from, which was stupid. The second priority is legacy Islamist terrorists, because, of course, if you're Muslim, you must be into harming our country because it's not just another religion; it's a terror group. And I'm being sarcastic because that's ridiculous. And to your point, the last one is the violent left wing extremists. They've made number 3 on the list. That includes anarchists and anti fascists. Okay.
Yeah. If your grandfather served in World War II, he was an anti-fascist technically because he was fighting that. So again, that's the dumbest classification ever.
Yeah. We'll pat him on the back because of his efforts, we're here and able to say what we want.
For how much longer, we don't know, but we'll see. I think a lot of
On
people
that
are,
list,
not loving this.
yeah, good point. I would agree. On that third part of the violent left wing extremists was anybody that's radically pro transgender. If you're accepting of their ideology, you're on the list. And anybody, again, that's anti fascist, which just doesn't make sense. Do you know what you're saying? That's like Ronnie and the Cockhound. Like, I don't think
you
that's
know
what you
that
mean.
means. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's some scary ass shit. It really is when you get down to it. So if you believe that transgender people have a right to, identify as whatever gender they choose, then you're a terrorist and a threat to this country. I mean, what the actual fuck? That's horrific.
I know it's scary because
And where do you
yeah,
draw
you're
the line? If you believe that women have the right to vote, that women have the right to make a fair wage, that, where do you draw the line on this? This is just absolutely chilling.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, comes with like you only get one side of most things if you're just watching Fox News and you think everybody's the devil that is dealing with these hormonal issues. That I mean, who's right, who's wrong? Does it matter? You're still people, and you should be accepting of people that are dealing with their challenges.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
are you
everybody's
right?
got
Why are you
something.
so amazing because you're a heterosexual male or female? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that brings me to voting. We talked about this the other day. Um, Tennessee passing a bill to eliminate the requirement to notify people that their polling station has been changed.
Yeah, they'll
What could
figure
go
it out.
wrong?
I mean, they're literally pulling out all
Yeah,
of the
so we're
stops.
doing. You're right. They're extremely nervous. All right. I seem to be having a lag on my Wi-Fi. I just want to say that they're creating these new districts, right? They want to cut out the black vote, and then they're not going to tell you where your new polling station is. So even if you're against it, you're not going to know anyway because you don't know where to go to vote.
Yeah, that's called vote stealing,
So
vote theft. I mean, they
and
just want to
then
bring back Jim
they
Crow.
asked. And they asked in Tennessee, they said, "Do you know the majority of people in Memphis are black?" And the guy was like, I don't really know the data, which the whole Congress just laughed. Like, what are you talking about? And let me put this up. This is the current map in Tennessee, and this is what they want to turn it into. Pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it's the Confederacy. That's what this is. They are bringing back the Confederacy, essentially, the old glorious old South. The land of cotton, where old times
I don't know
there
why
are
it's
not
not popping
forgotten.
up. But you would think there's this generations past that this wouldn't be a want anymore.
Well,
I don't know if this is coming up. It's not. The point is that they had 9 districts. One of them was black, which was democratically held. And the new proposed one, oh, there it is, uh, doesn't have it anymore.
yeah.
It's gone.
I mean,
There.
that's
If you
just a
can't
slap in the
see it,
face.
that
I
little
mean,
spot.
-1, you lose a district. This is just disgusting. This is basically telling black people your vote doesn't count. And what are you going to do
Yeah.
about it? Because the Supreme Court has put their
Well,
stamp of approval. So piss off.
you're
That's
absolutely right.
horrifying.
And then you get the, Pam Bondi's gone, but Blanche is still there, who happened to be the criminal defense attorney of Trump's
And he may be
prior
even
to his
worse.
now. He's worse. So they asked him about putting Border Patrol or ICE at polling stations, and he's like, "Why not? What's the risk? Why? Why wouldn't you?" Type of thing. But there is a federal statute 18 USC 592, which prohibits deploying troops and armed men to locations where elections are held to prevent interference or intimidation.
Well,
Makes
they'll
sense?
declare some kind of a bullshit state of emergency and come up with some weak ass unconstitutional reason to do this because that's what they do. They don't care. And nobody stops them. That's the thing. Nobody fucking stops this.
And I keep coming back to like, hey, my hope is that if you live in that district that was gerrymandered, your neighbors didn't change. You still live in this community with your neighbor was black, white, or other. And why would you support it? But now, if you start limiting the vote, maybe they don't come out to vote. And this
Yeah, exactly.
continues
So
on its way to
maybe that'll be enough
whitey
for white people to get angry when your vote doesn't count either.
That's right, because you're poor. Alabama State Senate was so desperate that they rammed through a bill to disenfranchise voters and strip representation of African Americans. during tornado sirens, flooding, and evacuations. Didn't stop them.
Jesus. So all you have to do is crank up the tornado sirens, and on a bright sunny day, it doesn't matter. Well, sirens went off. I'm sorry.
Normally, you would seek shelter, but these people needed to push this vote through to disenfranchise voters. So they were like, "I don't care if it blows the top off this place. You know, you're not getting a vote, and we're going to stick it out." Again, these are all these southern states that want to go back to how great things were, I guess. Meanwhile, we're still at war. I talked to a fairly conservative person yesterday. They used the war word, and I tried to correct them in the fact that it's
well, it's not a war, it's an excursion. And from my understanding, when you relayed that conversation to me, he really didn't have much to say about that. There wasn't much of a comeback because it's kind of indefensible. It's a war. It's not a trip to the casino. It's not an outing to Six Flags. It's a war. People are being killed, again, for really no reason. So anyway, I don't know if he's coming back, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So happy ending. I don't know. Got nothing there, but hope everybody who is watching and or listening has a great weekend, and we will be back on Tuesday. So see ya. And don't let the bastards drag you down.